What is up, everybody? Buckeye Nation. It is game week. Say it with me. It is game week. Right here on Ohio State Football with Scarlet and Great, right here on YouTube. Your host, Scarlet Great CT, Cory Thompson, Floco, whatever you want to call me, the White Buffalo. Johnny's called me a million different names. Whatever you want to call me is fine. Call me the idiot. I don't care. Dylan's about to oblige you on that, I'm sure.
Those are the nice ones that Johnny's called you.
Those are the nice ones that Johnny's called me. This is Dylan Freeman. You've seen him on the show before, folks. I'm bringing him on again, a valued guest, a valued friend of the Scarlet and Gray podcast. We appreciate your time as always, Dylan. We're going to talk about Ohio State Notre Dame today. First of all, get some housework or house cleaning out of the way, guys. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. We're looking for 5,000 subscribers before the season starts, and that's in a few days. So help us out here. Share the video, share the channel. We appreciate you with all your loved ones, all your friends. If you like what you see, like the video. It helps the algorithm. Appreciate all your help, guys. And leave a comment. We want to hear score predictions. I want to know are you confident? Do you think Ohio State's going to prevail? Do you think it's going to be a close game? Give me your score predictions in the comment section right now. But we're going to give you what we think's going on with this game. Dylan especially is going to give you what he thinks is going on with this game. Dylan, how are you feeling? What's your general feeling as you know it's coming up in a few days?
I really didn't feel much until this afternoon, watching some highlights and just reading more things on it and just talking to our group and everything like that and a couple of friends. And I started feeling like the butterflies, like it's here finally.
Oh yeah, it's coming Saturday. It's going to be my first game ever in the shoe. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I will tell you up front, I'm 1-2 at Buckeye games on the road, and the only one we won was against Maryland in 2018.
Was that really a win? That when we were there though?
Yeah, I mean, we were there. Yeah, that's right. You were there with us, and it didn't feel like a win. Remember when we walking out the tunnel, everybody's singing, "We don't give a damn about."
Yeah.
And you and I are like, "Y'all are singing? That was embarrassing." Kidding me? I don't feel confident going in next week at all. Of course, we saw what happened, 62-39. Didn't expect that, but whatever. Defense still didn't play that great in that game. But anyway, we're in 2022 now. Season's about to start. New era. Okay, Dylan, what is the first thing you are looking for in the new 2022 version of the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Physical. I mean, as simple as it sounds, both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think we were unphysical, if that's what I mean, last year. I don't think it was that. I think that we were about average in that category. You know what I mean? The toughness. Kind of like you saw Brandon in our chat was pointing out that wasn't really, we didn't really get beat off the ball that much.
Yeah.
It just sometimes guys creating freelancing, going the wrong gap, and it makes you look bad. I just think that we need to take that level up and show that we are the physical team that people used to fear, that they know that our offensive line and our defensive lines, we're going to wear them down the whole game because like on defense, we can rotate so many bodies, and we still have that this year to show that block destruction, that's going to be key, is just keep on chipping away at those offensive linemen because that wears them on, and we have deep rotation, and we can keep bringing in bodies. So I think just being physical at the point of attack on both sides really will determine if we are – I think even if we're not, and we kind of look back to this year, we can still make it to the playoffs or Big Ten championship type. But I think to actually have a chance to be considering, like when we're like watching it in the year, like we can play in this game against Alabama or Georgia to actually have a chance.
That is the standard. The Alabama is the standard, absolutely. I was talking with a couple of friends earlier on Twitter about that, and really everybody's chasing Alabama. And the only three teams right now we can, on paper, like A&M, Georgia, and Ohio State, are the only teams you look at who can give Alabama a run for their money. But if we can't do it, just give Bama the trophy now. That's kind of how it feels right now. You're right. I like what you brought that up because honestly, there's been a lot of stories, Dylan. Like last year that Ryan Day kind of got involved with the off-season training a little bit more than maybe what Urban used to do, and didn't really. I mean, I don't want to say he handcuffed Mickey Mariotti. I just think they took a different approach. It seemed like to get him, and honestly, to try to keep them fresher going into the season. And this year, everything's been reversed. You hear they're just beating the crap out of these guys. Like, no, you are going to be tough. We're going to beat it.
Ryan Day is very analytical, and they do all the studies, and that's kind of where he leaned towards last year. Was all these testing, how fast they're going, how much their muscle activity. You know what I mean? All the percentages, their body fat.
So sometimes you can get over analytical, is what you think. Yeah.
Yes, and I think that Ryan Day, you hear him talk. He's a very sharp guy. He knows the game,
obviously,
and the NFL is going to that with the preseason and OTAs and things like that. They took a lot of the physical aspect out of the game, and that just because they want to keep these guys fresh, because NFL especially is a long season and a lot of wear and tear on these guys. And I think that they kind of went that route as opposed to trying to maintain the freshness throughout the whole season and not really focus on getting necessarily game ready for game one, but having them ready for the whole year and tracking everything. They're still doing that to an extent,
Yeah,
but
of course.
I think you said, like Mariotti, they ramped it up this year. And the players have talked about that over and over, that it was a new year and a lot different going into the weight room every single day.
Can I follow up with that to suggest maybe that they tried to go that route last year because they figure, hey, look, we're going to be a perennial playoff contender. We're looking at potentially 15 games a year if we get to the title game, right? So they're thinking it's almost an NFL season. So we've got to prepare differently up front to make sure these guys are fresher. Do you think that played into it?
I think some aspect, kind of a mix of both what you and I were saying, is that they wanted to keep the guys fresh, and they felt that this new way of tracking everything was kind of a big deal, like a game changer. And it sometimes at the end of the day, if we would have lost one game and we were in the Big Ten championship, no one would be talking about this. You know,
I agree.
So
if we would have beat the team up north, only lost to Oregon, nobody would have been talking about it.
And we made the playoffs and lost to Alabama by 20. No one would have mentioned that we weren't the tough enough team, So I think it's a little carried away, but at the same time, us fans get to watch it, and so we see the day in and day out of, like, as far as the games of not being as physical as we need to be and being as tough, that the outsider that just watches one game, you know what I mean? Oregon, they ran the same play over and over. They weren't really out physical in us, and they outnumber us at their point of attack on for the run defense. So there's only so much you can do, so I think just kind of a new approach and just going over the top on it might be a new strategy. And I think that it's going to pay off, especially early in the year, that we're going to be ready sooner out of the gate than we would have early on last year.
Yeah, 100% agree. And to build off of that, see, my biggest concern in this game, Dylan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is we have a new offensive line coach who does have a great reputation. I do like Justin Frye, and I'm confident he will be a good coach. Okay, I'm not dissing him, but we just don't know how it's going to come out of the gate right now, right? And you got new left tackle who's been on the line. He's a veteran, but he's new to left tackle at the college level. You have some experience there, Matt Jones, who's never really started that much, but he's got some experience. Luke Whippler's got a year under his belt. He played up and down last year, but you figure him to be pretty good this year going into the year. Obviously, Donovan Jackson's a 5-star freak that we all know is going to be really good. We were confident he's going to be really good. It doesn't always work out that way, but you're confident Donovan's going to be good. And, of course, you got Big Thanos on the right side. The talent is there, right? It's just how to build a cohesive unit against a Notre Dame defensive front that's actually pretty good. People don't even realize. I don't think they're talking enough about it. That matchup is my biggest concern. So I think it plays into the idea that you just talked about physicality. And it's like that's where the physicality's got to start, is the line of scrimmage, 100% every time. So it actually starts and ends with that if you want to be realistic on it. Do you feel that same kind of nervousness about that matchup? Because to me, if there's anything to keep this game really close, if the offensive line does not perform up to task.
Yeah, it's going to be a long game if Big Thanos and Paris Johnson are not able to consistently win pass reps. You know what I mean? One-on-one. I think last year a lot made out of what was not a great run blocking offensive line. But if you look at the talent on last year's offensive line, if you look back in about 3 years, we had a lot of talented guys on the line last year.
Petit Freeman just won the starting job in the NFL as a rookie. And
Munford's going to be a player in the NFL, whether it's guard or tackle, he's going to be a player. So
once his back gets healthy, yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that this year is going to take a little bit longer for us to kind of gel, especially like you mentioned with Paris never really playing left tackle in college. He repped at backups occasionally last year. But he never played in a real game. And then obviously Dewan he's uber talented, but in the day we saw him get beat numerous times by smaller, quicker defensive ends.
That's my concern with him as well. You put your pass rushing in on him
Foskey. Foskey's a very good player.
Like 11 and a half sacks last year or something like that.
Yeah, they move him all around, and he's a little smaller for a defensive end. He's pretty much like their linebacker. He's their jack.
To me, he's somebody you run at more than anything.
And I think that it did help that Dewan did lose some weight. this offseason.
Yeah, but that was a mixed report. They said he lost 10 pounds. I'm like, could he even notice 10 pounds? That's in his fingers, essentially. I mean, it's like he's 360 pounds. Now he's 350 now. Okay, great.
If you lose 10 to 15 pounds, you notice a little bit, you know what I mean? Extra
I don't
energy.
know. When I was 300 pounds and I was a fatty, when I lost 10 pounds, the only way I noticed it was on a scale.
Were you also blocking 250-pound freak athletes?
Yes. As a painter, I was blocked. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Anyway.
So I think he does notice it. I'm not going to say it's drastic, but I do think it's going to help a little bit. And I mean, the thing is, he saw that in the last season. You know what I mean? That he was constantly abused as far as this edge rusher. So I think that he really took the next step. But I do agree that that offensive line is probably everyone on the field is my biggest concern, is being able to win that battle up front.
Because if you give CJ 3 seconds, he's going to eat you alive with what we got on the outside.
Yeah. If you turn it on 7-on-7, we're going to score 60 points. You know, if it turns in that way. So I think
because the skill position players are not the problem. I don't even have to ask you. Do we have the receiver? Do we have the running back? We have the court. We have all that. We all know that. Even the tight ends, Stover and Royer, can contribute. It's just a matter of can the offensive line hold enough to get CJ the time and get the lanes in the running game. See, that to me is the big key. Well, Justin Frye being a run game guy, he's a run game first guy. How good is that? Now, Kevin Wilson was a little alarming, saying we're not quite there yet. How good is that run game for game one? Because I think that's the key to everything on offense is not the passing game, not the 7-on-7. Can we get that power run game in there? Because Tevin Henderson, yes, we know he's lightning fast, but he's also powerful. He's also a strong guy. And Mayan Williams is going to have a bigger load now that Evan Pryor is out for the year. And that's also another power back. Can we consistently get those 5 to 7 yard runs to make our offense more efficient, give us better leverage on third down, and on top of that, take the pressure off CJ a little bit? Do you think we can have success there?
Yes, but it's gonna be the same down to is sometimes we didn't have very good play calling on the running game last year. You know what I mean? Where there's no variety.
That's where Justin comes in. I'm totally convinced it's not totally studs. Not totally studs. The reason why he's gone is not totally because he was a terrible offensive line coach. Is because Justin Frye adds that element of understanding the run game.
Yeah, it's different. So I think that's going to help you numerous opportunities as far as like first downs and third and short. You know what I mean? Coming up with some different aspects. So it's not just okay. We know you're running outside zone. You know what I mean? So
stretch. Yeah, we're running stretch.
Even when you block it. I mean, a good defensive play is going to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think just giving them new wrinkles on the run game, even if it's blocked average, you know what I mean? You guys get close to an advantage that way.
If you give Trevian even a little bit of a gap, he can take it to the house. And so we know we don't even have to block perfectly. He's got that Ezekiel Elliott ability that if he sees the gap, he's gone. But real quick, let's switch over to the defense if you don't mind, because I think that's where everybody's mind is. Most people feel our offense is going to be fine. The offensive line, I think we covered because you have to on that. You don't know what it's going to be. Defensively, what do you expect first game with Knowles? I mean, listen, fan base, Buckeye Nation, let me tell you something. It ain't going to be perfect out of the gate against a good team. It's not. Just expect it. Expect there's going to be a blown coverage here and there. There's going to be a missed opportunity here and there. There's going to be times we can't get off the field on third down. Notre Dame's going to score. Just get over that fact. Now, can we hold them enough to like 24-ish points? Can we hold them down to that area level and get them off the field on third down enough to give our offense enough opportunities to outscore them? Do you think that the defense will show at least marked improvement from last year, even in the first game?
Yeah, I think that we're going to look pretty solid. I'm not saying top 5 defense for the gate or shutting them out and holding them to 3 points or anything like that. They're going to make their plays, like you said, especially with our coverage, the way it is, being aggressive, the way that Knowles has had in the past. We are going to have those bonus assignments. I'm really worried about Chris Tyree, the running back, out of the backfield on swings and Texas routes, kind of like how we used to use J.K. Dobbins in the backfield, you know?
How do you stop that with Jimmy Knowles' defense?
That's the tough thing. He leaves – you can only take away so many things. And he would
rather.
And
the tight end for Notre Dame's like a first-round draft pick lock. He's a great player.
So. Yeah, and so we're leaving the linebackers sometimes one-on-one against these running backs. So they're going to have to win the battle.
Can Steele win that battle? Can Tommy Eichenberg win that battle? Tommy Eichenberg, I bet you Tommy's going to play a lot of zone, I would imagine, in the middle there. Because he's not a one-on-one matchup guy. You don't want him. Steele, I could see his athleticism being a one-on-one guy.
That's when we're going to bring in, train him, as well
Yeah,
as
that makes
Seal,
sense.
who are both. I mean, you watch them for running backs. You have to be a great athlete to be a running back. For
100%.
most likely.
And they are
And
great athletes. And
yeah,
for whatever we're hearing, Chip's the fastest linebacker we have. So
and he's still not as fast as Tyree or some of these running backs.
no, but you're
But
fast enough. Yeah.
yes, especially when you have that angle, and going in the pursuit angle. So I mean, I think that you
The
have
safety
to
is
give
going to
him.
be tasked with a lot this game.
Yes, and that's why I think it's going to be leaving them one-on-one to the boundary sometimes, in the open field, and they're going to have to make some tackles, which we're going to see quickly how good our linebackers are.
If they go with a lot of bubbles and things like that to get the tight end in the open field, get them Tyree in the open field, I got to think Ronnie Hickman shines this game, right? Because I got to believe he's got a 14 tackle game coming for him.
I think that Court Williams is going to play a lot more than people think in this game.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think Tanner McAllister is not going to play near as much as he normally will during the season as well. Just for that sole fact, they're going to move Court Williams to
Get
nickel.
some size in there. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's an extension of the linebacker. It will be, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of where he'll be able to blow up those bubble screens and kind of be out in space, whether it's on Mayer, out in the flat, or the running back in zone. You know what I mean? So I think he will play some more than people think, that as opposed to like a backup role. I think he'll get some good snaps in there because he provides something different. And especially with Buckner at quarterback, isn't the most down the field threat yet. He hasn't shown it, at least. So I think that those short games will exactly. I think the short game and bubble screens will play a factor, and so having a guy like Court to kind of blow that up and not allow the wide receivers to block and get easy 6 yards every single time will be a pretty big deal.
So Dylan, as we're coming towards the end of the show, what are your keys to victory? Like these few things happen, you see an Ohio State comfortable win.
We run the ball consistently. I'm not talking 10 yards a carry. I'm not expecting that. If we get 5 yards a carry, 5.5 yards, somewhere around there, 5.5 yards a carry, and not have it be an 80-yard run by Henderson. You know what I mean?
And then 19 1-yard runs. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so I'm going. If you're able to consistently pick up 5 yards on first down, or just even on third and short, be able to get those extra 2 or 3 yards. When it's blocked for 2 and you get 4, that's why I can think a consistent run game will be, because they're going to outnumber us in the box. Marcus Freeman even said that today, that they're going to first and foremost stop the run.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a big one, is just consistently get average gains on run. I mean, I'm hoping that we get some big ones, but just consistent. And then I think on defense, keep everything in front of you. I know we're aggressive and we're going to have some blown coverages, but I want Taylor Buckner to be able to beat me down the field. You know what I mean? If you're going to challenge me, it's kind of like what we used to do on offense. We would get so annoyed with having to dink and dunk that you can only do that for so long without we expect that our defense is going to cause a turnover here and there. You know what I mean? Or a 3-and-out or in a sack, get you get a tackle for loss, and that ruins your whole game plan. So I think that just keep everything deep in front of us and make Buckner beat you consistently.
Okay, great. I going back to what you're saying on the idea of physicality. If Notre Dame, I think that Marcus Freeman's going to come out and throw haymakers and pick his shots, and I think they're going to try to consistently run the ball on us, aka the Michigan blueprint. How does our I want to see how we respond. If somebody tries to punch in your mouth in your home field, we'll see this new look Buckeyes attitude, physicality, and see how they respond. That's my big thing. Is like, okay, if they're trying to run the ball down your throat, how do you answer?
I know our staff is very confident in our run defense. Like we're feeling pretty good about our run defense right now.
They should.
Especially
that D line is going to be nasty. That D line by the end of the year is going to be a talk of the nation, I think.
We're going to be playing heavy technique and defense. You know what I mean, and forcing everything outside. So the D line's job isn't to
force them outside as an advantage to us. We got the speed advantage. So
exactly, you funnel them to Chambers. I mean, Eichenberg is not slow. You know what I mean? Like he's not the fastest, but he's
not Borland. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think funneling, and then we have Court Williams. You know what I mean, at safety, and Hickman. So I think we have the speed outside, and Ransom. You know what I mean? I think Ransom plays a little bit too. But so I think we have the speed outside.
God bless Ransom, man. That was a heck of a recovery.
No one, even the staff, had thought no way he's going to be ready for game one. And
then he has one of the best fall camps of anybody. It's like, geez, dude.
So I think our block destruction, our defensive line is going to be key. And I feel like our staff, I know our staff thinks that we're pretty pretty happy
Pretty
with
solid.
where we're at.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's pretty much it. I think that our staff's happy with where we're at on defense, and it's going to look a lot better. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to look. We're going to
More
see
confident.
and make adjustments.
All right, let's go with some score predictions. Dylan, what late on the table, man? What do you say?
Let's go 42-24.
Safe pick. I like it. You know what? I'm gonna say that Notre Dame catches some fire between the halfway point of the second quarter and maybe into the early fourth. They for some reason they're just doing pretty well. I think we're gonna win. I'm gonna go 38-31. I think it's gonna be close enough. I think it'll be a 38-24 type of game for a bit, and then they get a late touchdown, and it just comes a little closer than we think. And then, but I don't think it's a dominant win. I just think it's a good win, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too far off. I was debating between 24 or 27, so I mean, it's not that far off as far as the margin. I just think that I don't see it any way we're scoring less than 35 points.
Well, I did say 38. So
I was just saying, in general, I don't think our offense is going to be.
I'm figuring in some offensive line miscues in there that ruin a drive here and there. That's how I'm figuring that, because I mean, I just don't know what to expect with the offensive line, man. I think it's going to be potentially very good. I like Justin Frye, but this first game. The good thing about this, Dylan, is the first game being Notre Dame is you don't have to worry about focusing the team. They know exactly. They got to be sharp right out of the gate. They know that. You don't have to motivate them to, hey, we're playing Toledo. Oh God, we're playing Toledo.
Yeah. And so I think, like you said, we're going to be motivated, and it's going to be a rocking atmosphere. They're expecting a very loud one, and probably one of the loudest ones in a long time.
I can't wait to contribute to that, baby. I want to be as loud as I can.
So they're all ready for it. Like you said, one thing, like you said with Justin Frye and Kevin Wilson, so their run game's not quite there. I think that's also a tribute to our defensive line being a lot better than it was, and they're just a year older. And
ton of talent on that line, man. Ton of talent.
So, I mean,
I went on an Irish podcast and I said, tell your listeners to watch out for 51 Michael Hall. I guarantee, I'm calling it right now, he's going to be my standout player that nobody knows, who's going to actually make a few plays. Like, who's 51? Are you kidding me? That dude's a player. Not to say he's going to come out and like dominate the game. I just think he's going to make a couple of tackles for loss or whatever. You're like, why was he not playing last year? Type of.
Who leads the team in sacks this game, Cory?
Jack Sawyer. He's getting 2 sacks. I'm calling it.
I'm going Zach Harrison.
I want Harrison to have a huge year. I want that for him. I want him to have 14 sacks this year and go first round next year in the draft. That's what I want. I want that for Harrison. He has been patient. He's been working hard, and it's Zach. It's your time, buddy. We've ruined Zach's career a little bit with Kerry Combs' defense. So we got a competent, great defensive coordinator. I hate to rip on Kerry, but we got a guy who's a proven guy that Zach, take Zach to the next level. Be aggressive. Go get yourself a couple 2.5 sacks this game. Maybe a strip fumble, whatever. And then all of a sudden, Zach Saracen's in the spotlight. I would love that.
One last thing to watch out for with our scheme on defense: bootlegs. They're gonna run the bootlegs a lot, and we flow so heavy to the ball. You know what I mean? And with block destruction, you get caught inside quite a bit.
Yep.
Right. And if the offense tag pins you down,
that's where the safety is going to be tasked. That back end safety is going to be tasked with watching that. I mean, I could see Hickman or
that's tough. Williams. He's going to be. He's either going to go against Buckner, or he's going to have tight end number 2, or a wide receiver across the flat. You know what I mean? So he's going to have to choose, and so that's kind of where I don't think Buckner's going to. I heard Johnny show he's not going to light them apart, right? But all he has to do with RPOs is just those bootlegs, just quick little dink and dunks. You know what I mean? So I think the safety's going to have a very tough time choosing there. So I think that's a big one to watch. And we saw in the spring game, a lot of our big plays in the passing game were on bootlegs across the field. You know what I mean? Or they ran a receiver ran across the field or tight end.
We'll see. Yeah.
And that's just with our scheme. That's just one of the weaknesses to have it.
I hear you. It's give and take. You just got to take what you can. But Dylan, we appreciate you, man. Tell them where they can find you.
Dylan Freeman, VP on Twitter.
Go find him on Twitter, guys. He's a knowledgeable guy. He loves talking Buckeye football, Buckeye sports in general. A scout, a guy who knows the game. We always love having you on here, Dylan. Appreciate you coming on here, buddy.
Of course, Cory. Thanks for having me.
No problem, guys. As always, guys, comment what the score prediction for you is going to be. Guys, like the video if you like what you saw, and share the channel, share the video. We appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all your love and support. As always, guys, goodbye. God bless. And go Bucks. Please, go Bucks against Notre Dame. Go Bucks this week especially.